Hello there. My name is Steve, and you're watching my channel, Real Fusion 413. And I wanted to just kind of do a intro video on a current project that my wife and I has going right now, and that is a Skoolie conversion. Um, we went with a short bus this time. This will be our second short bus that we've owned. We had our first one back, oh man, I don't know, a lot of years ago. Um, Built it up, went camping in it a few times, and then I had to go ahead and sell it. We were in the military at the time and just wasn't really part of the long-term plan, moving around every few years. But it was a lot of fun. We learned a few things, and here we are, some years later, and we're going to give it another shot. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the bus that we picked up this time. Watched a lot of other YouTubers out there that are doing Skoolie conversions and learning a lot of good things from them. Things to do, things don't do. So, and then we still have a lot to learn, and I know we'll have some firsthand learnings here as we go through this project, and we want to kind of just document this as we're going through it, and hope that some of the things that we've implemented and learned through the process will help somebody out there. So yeah, so we'll get kicked off here, and this will be one of my first videos that I'm doing. So just bear with me, be patient. Might make a few errors here and there, but we'll get through this together. So appreciate you joining me. Got comments or anything? Please leave some comments. If you like what you see, you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and like I said, we'll be journeying together through this bus conversion and things like that. So let me get right into it. So what we ended up picking up was, let me get my camera turned around, and all right, so what we have here is a 1993 GMC Vandura. Title actually calls it a cutaway van. And so what GMC did is they built this chassis. It's basically a G3500 van. It's like a full-size, heavy-duty work van, and they just cut away the van portion of it. You could see this passenger side door has hinges. I mean, I'm almost imagining they just took a van, brought in a huge saw, and just cut from just this side of the passenger door all the way back, and just opened up that whole frame and chassis and everything, and then set a bus box on it. It was kind of neat to see. It was like, wow, it looks like they just took a metal chainsaw to it, but this portion of the door, even though it is hinged, does not open. So, but yeah, it's built on a G3500's frame, and the drivetrain, so the engine is a 5.7 liter gas, and then the transmission is a 408E transmission. So this thing is a hoss. It's a workhorse. It's got tons of power. Even for the mileage that's on it, it's got a lot of life left in it. So the wife and I looked for several, well, let me correct that. My wife had been looking for several months. Myself, only probably just a few weeks, and then together for a few weeks. Looked at so many different buses. We liked certain things about each one, and then some things we didn't. We kept coming across this one, and we'd kind of like, well, we'll maybe come back to it, maybe come back to it. And the more we looked at it, the more we kind of just fell in love with, it's a short bus. It's a very pretty color, and so we went out, took a look, and fell more in love with it and drove it home. And it's a 30-year-old vehicle, so it does have some dings and some bangs on it, but I mean, generally, the more I dig into this thing, the more I realize this is a very, very, very solid bus. Um, the bus was, oh shoot, I forget where the bus was built. Oh, I knew. But I know the box was put on by a company in Conway, Arkansas. So it's spent, based on what I'm seeing and what little history I know on it, it's spent its life in the South. I say that because crawling underneath this, and I know my camera view is not not able to get far enough away to get it all in here. So let me get backed up. But yeah, I just don't see a lot of evidence of it being driven across a lot of snow and ice and a lot of salt. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. I've crawled all underneath this thing, you know, front to back, side to side, and there's just no major signs of rust. Little spots here and there, you know, just surface rust, something you can knock off with a wire brush, but just nothing significant. So, you know, that excited me a lot. And then the day we went and looked at it, I kind of just stuck my head under it in a couple spots, didn't really get too far under it until I got it home and started working on it. But this thing's we've only had it now for about 2 weeks, so we're just getting started. And that, you know, we want to document this process. And again, the hopes are that we can learn together, maybe help future skoolie builders, maybe avoid some of the errors that I'm sure we're going to make. But yeah, it'll be a good learning process. So we kind of let's get it opened up, kind of walk through the inside of it. So it was a 14 passenger bus. Just kind of ignore the mess. We've already started some work on it. So with the seats already being pulled out, we didn't have to do that part. So that was pretty cool. All we had to do when we got it, so we started on the floor. So it had of course, the metal floor, and then on that they had some real thin plywood subfloor, and then on top of that some rubber matting, and then of course the seats were mounted on that, and that's what it was designed to do. So as far as floor demo, that was pretty straightforward. Just tear the rubber matting out, tear the wood and stuff out, which that was kind of tricky. Some of the screws came out with screwdriver, and some came out with grinder and a pry bar. So 30 some odd years old, that was to be expected. But I mean, my wife and I had the floor out in about 2 or 3 hours, so still wasn't really that big of a task. Again, being in the very, very, very beginning stages of this, we've still got to tear the sidewall panels down. We're wanting to keep the original windows. Some of the other skoolie conversion teams, I hear recommendations, you know, to take those out and replace them because that is a point of entry for water. So understanding that, I think we're going to take the risk once we pull the skins down, get everything good sealed back up, and pray that that holds out for at least the life of what we're going to be using this for. So same thing with the ceiling. I know some that may watch this like, oh man, you really should have taken those ceiling panels down. And well, again, we're going to choose not to do that. The ceiling, at least on the inside, is in really good shape. It's got a good, nice coating of paint and everything on it. So we're going to leave that up. The couple spots I could get my hand in, the insulation looks pretty decent. Doesn't mean it may not already have leaking on it. We'll pull the light fixtures back and take some more looks, but if nothing really jumps out at us, our plan is to leave the ceiling as is and not take that down. So this conversion here is going to be a little bit unique as opposed to some that we've watched, some other builders that we've watched. This one we do not intend on living in. What this will end up being and what our plan is for it is it's going to be a mobile craft work area and a supply storage. My wife and I are business owners. We own a mobile coffee business. We run it on weekends and special events, stuff like that. And instead of using her car as our storage when we're traveling back and forth, we're going to build that into this bus. My wife is incredibly creative and loves to craft. I mean, it just loves it passionately. So we're also going to build a portion of this as a mobile craft area. So as we're out at these different events, maybe do some on-site, half hour to an hour long lessons. If somebody's interested in learning how to, I mean, whatever. So could come up in here, set up a few chairs, and do just some on-site training, while we're selling coffee and teaching people, some crafting stuff. So I'm not real savvy with all that, so I don't know what all the terms and everything are. If my wife was out here, she would be able to talk to that much more intelligently. So, but yeah, so this will be an extension of our coffee business, plus a craft work area, sometimes office, just kind of a multi-purpose. I guess I could have started with that and then talked a little more, but it'll just be a multi-purpose vehicle. Oh man, one of the exciting things, let me come back outside here. So jump to the inside. Didn't really talk much about so when I got this bus home, so one of the questions I asked the previous owner was, do these lights work? And he said, yeah. I didn't know how to work them. We were kind of just talking about other things, more on the mechanical side, things that he's done to it in the short time he had it. So I got home, started playing around with these lights. Well, yes, these upper flashers, both on the front and the back, do in fact work. And I really geeked out over that. Brought me back to my childhood. So I was pretty excited. And then later on in the afternoon, when my wife got back in from work, I was like, oh, you got to come see this. And I showed it to her. She was pretty geeked out about it as well. But yeah, so all the flashers work on the front and back. There's a blinking strobe light, whatever you want to call it, up on the top. And that also works. So I was pretty excited about that. I do understand that is a point of water entry. So yeah, since water can potentially get in there, I'm going to pull these light lenses back and make sure they're good and sealed up, because I really want to be able to keep the lights on the bus, both in the front and the back. Just like with the windows, I want to make sure that the windows are good and sealed up for future. I mean, it's the old style school bus windows that I grew up with as a kid, so that was pretty cool whenever they make that just very, for those that have ridden a bus, especially those that rode a bus 30, 40 years ago, it was a very unique clicking sound whenever you push the window back up. And I don't know, it just again brought me back to my childhood, so I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, so that's our little short bus. We've come up with a name for her. We call her Minty B. That kind of just happened. We're talking to a friend of ours, wife and I, and we were talking about the bus. And of course, he asked the questions like, "Well, what have you named it yet?" I was like, "Oh no, not yet." And then he started talking about, I was like, "Well, what color is this?" And we're looking, and my wife was like, "It looks more like a mint color." We later learned it was actually, according to Sherwin-Williams, it's more of a pistachio, but it still looks like mint ice cream. So I was like, yeah, it's all more of a mint color. And my wife and I, almost in stereo, was like, well, I guess it was just meant to be. And there's the name. And we were like, oh my gosh, we just named our bus. So we call her Minty B. And I'm pretty excited to get her put together. and get her out on the road and, you know, run it all over God's creation and just show it off to others, you know, pulling our little coffee cart. So, yeah. So that's the very, very beginnings of the bus conversion. So, got some work going on here inside the bus. So we'll get into that here shortly. To get my camera turned again, but trying to get my camera turned again. Not being super cooperative right now. Okay. So, yeah, that. When we brought this bus home, driving it was very interesting. So I've got the steering column tore down to just behind the tilt knuckle assembly, and you can't see it real well at this depth, but with the steering wheel and everything, you know, of course, should be sitting out here when you got it fully assembled, had just a ton of play in it. So yesterday I come out and I started tearing into it, and I've been watching, and people say, you know, for these older steering columns, you know, there's a very common thing that happens to them where there's basically 4 bolts that mount it to the lower section of the column, and those have a tendency to come loose over the years. You know, so it's like, oh, here's your fix for it. So I tore down to that level, and that was not it. So, and just by the time I got from the steering wheel just to here, which took about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour, some of the parts that should have been in this steering column that I was watching through these other videos just either wasn't there, or they were laying down in the little cup. I don't know all the names and everything, so you have to forgive me on that, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be like. So I do believe somebody else has come in here and maybe attempted to fix the same slop, waller, whatever you want to call it, issue. Couldn't figure it out at this level, and then put it all back together, and when they did, they kind of missed some stuff. So by the time I got to this part and realized that was not the fix that I'd been watching and trying to figure out, I just decided I'm going to replace it. So I'm leaving this tore apart like this. Here shortly, I'm going to get under here and actually just tear the rest of this steering column out. I've got one ordered on its way. Should be here in a few days. So I'll talk some more about the steering column specifically when we get to that part. But yeah, so that's why the steering's tore all to pieces. So not the cheapest fix. I'll say it that way. They don't give these steering columns away, as I found out. So, but it'll be good to go when I get the new rebuilt one in, and that'll be exciting. I think that's probably going to about wrap this up. So I'm going to leave you with that. Hopefully this was pretty exciting. I know we're very excited about it. I'll get some other videos put together as we continue through the next stages of finishing out demolition and other things that we'll be doing with this bus, and then of course the build back. So that's always going to be fun and exciting. But yeah, we'll continue sharing this journey with you. Again, like I said, my name is Steve. This is Real Fusion 413. Hopefully you enjoyed, you know, this first video, and leave me some comments. You know, let me know your thoughts. If you got ideas or something, or if you want to see something specific, I'll see what I can do for you. So my disclaimer is I'm not a professional mechanic, but I don't mind getting my hands dirty and digging in and trying to figure it out. So if somebody, you know, has say, hey, you know, can you take a look at this, or, you know, what's your thoughts on this, I will do my best to figure out an answer. Or worst case, if I just am not able to figure it out, maybe I can point you in a direction that you can go find that answer. So I don't have all of them by any stretch. And some of the answers I'm going to learn the hard way, as I've done most of my life. So again, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you back here soon on Real Fusion 413.